Welcome to YMB's first ever monthly special series. This is Bitcoin and the Arts with John Stuart. We ran a segment like this once before during our regular Thursday show, but we've since decided that it will work wonderfully as a monthly special. Tune in the first Saturday of every month to hear John's perspective on how Bitcoin is impacting all types of artists around the globe. Today, he'll be chatting about some new value-added tax regulations for digital services in Europe. These laws could create serious problems for artists who distribute their work online. Stay tuned for John's take. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is John Stuart again with another episode of Bitcoin and the Arts. This will be the first one of the new year. I have some other ones that are in the pipeline to come out that have already been recorded, but I want to put this out first because it's kind of timely. I want to talk about value-added tax on digital services in the European Union. There's a new regulation that just came out. I'm going to read off of www.gov.uk, their website, so I think this is pretty official. I'll just read the whole thing because it's pretty short, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. From January 1st, 2015, there are new place of supply rules for value-added tax, or VAT, VAT, whatever. I'm going to call it VAT, I guess, on the supply of digital services by businesses to consumers in the European Union. VAT on digital services will be paid in the consumer's country, not the supplier's country. It will be charged at the rate that applies in the consumer's country. What you need to do. As a supplier of digital services to European Union consumers, you can either register for VAT in each European Union country you supply to, or register to use VAT Mini One-Stop Shop online service, and they have a link provided for that. Using VAT MOS, the Mini One-Stop Shop service, you can account for the VAT due on your business-to-consumer sales in other European Union countries by submitting a single quarterly return and payment to HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC. HMRC will send an electronic copy of the appropriate part of your return and any payment to each relevant country's tax authority. Digital services include broadcasting, the supply of television or radio programs, telecommunications, fixed and mobile telephony, fax and connection to the internet, e-services, which include video on demand, download applications, music downloads, gaming, ebooks, antivirus software, and online auctions. This is a fast-changing area. These are examples rather than a complete list of digital services. So I have a couple other articles that are more opinion pieces on what's going on with this that I'm going to pick and choose a few things from just so you get an idea of what all that means and how this is actually going to work. So prior to this, most digital service products were exempt from value-added tax in the European Union. The new regulation will remove that exemption, and there's some petitions online for people to uphold existing exemption rather than take it away with these new laws. Now, I think the main thing that people are kind of freaking out about this on is, well, first of all, the exemption is getting removed from people. So, according to this article from change.org, micro businesses supplying digital services will forfeit their exemption by doing digital business in Europe. So, it kind of makes it more annoying for people who sell digital services and they want to do it in more than just their own country. But the other main issue with this is that the value-added tax is determined by the customer's location and not the business's location or the supplier's location. And that's important because instead of just paying the normal taxes that you're going to pay from where you're from, you have to deal with all these other tax regulations from other countries and stuff like that. That is if you want to do business outside of your country. Another article from factmag.com says, it seems like this regulation is to clamp down on tax dodging heavyweights like Amazon. That's a straight quote from them. And that's probably true. Amazon can get away with a lot of things because of how their business works that governments aren't always happy about, I guess. And they used to not have tax on anything. They do now. Sales tax on anything, that is. They've had that for a while. Now this new VAT thing is going to apply to digital services. So there's that. But the reason people are starting petitions and stuff about this is because of how it's going to affect small businesses, because it's going to be more difficult for small businesses to keep up with all these regulations. They don't have legal teams and stuff like that, and it's going to be harder for them to, figure it all out. But the other problem is that it's potentially going to take a lot more of their profit from people who aren't making a lot of money in the first place. You might be wondering what this has to do with either Bitcoin or the arts. Well, the art connection is a lot easier to make because this applies to things like ebooks and video streaming, video and music downloads, all those kinds of things. I don't know if there's any other kind of digital arts that get downloaded or serviced on the internet. I don't know if you can buy digital images or something. I guess you can, like rights or something maybe. I don't know about that though. You'd have to look that up yourself. Probably should have done that. In a way, this does even affect me. I have Bandcamp, and that's kind of why I heard about this in the first place, because a lot of people were freaking out about it and were sending letters to Bandcamp asking them what's going on with this, because Bandcamp is a platform for musicians to distribute digital copies of their music. And I have Bandcamp. My music is on there for free or pay what you want. Because it's free, I wasn't super worried about this, but a lot of people are, because this VAT tax is now going to apply to anyone who from some other country starts buying your music. What Bandcamp has done though is Bandcamp is basically going to make they're just going to handle everything for all the people who use their service. So I'm not going to have to worry about it. People who do this straight from their site, it's going to mess with them, and they're going to have to they're going to have to redo all their books from now on and change the way they keep track of things. And it's just going to be kind of a pain for a lot of people. Now, what this has to do with Bitcoin, well, this obviously deals with regulation, and a lot of what Bitcoin is about is escaping regulation or preventing regulation, although that's a little bit of a misnomer. It's something Andreas Antonopoulos talks about a lot, how he's not against regulation, because Bitcoin actually is regulated, but it's regulated by the code and the network. It's not some arbitrary regulations from a government like these new VAT laws. I guess my thing with all this is all this stuff is kind of rendered useless if people were just to start using Bitcoin instead of whatever money they're using now in the European Union, and that would be the euro, I think. In the US, the dollar. I don't know. Maybe people will be yelling at me for being like, well, you're trying to evade taxes and stuff. Well, maybe I'll let you be the judge of that, but it's just all these regulations. They just hurt the industry. It makes it harder for people to distribute stuff. It makes the incentive for actually doing it lower, and it can hurt their profits and their productivity, and it's just annoying. That's maybe something that sounds like a stupid complaint, but it gets underemphasized that things like this are just annoying regardless of all the other more serious implications, and that still matters. I'm glad that I have gotten into Bitcoin as someone who distributes their music digitally, mostly digitally. I do have CDs and stuff, but almost all digital distribution. And it's just nice to know that I could sell this stuff for Bitcoin and not have to worry about any of this crap that is getting other people all riled up and mad about stuff, and they're signing petitions and everything. I guess I'm fine with petitions, but sometimes they're kind of whiny and they don't always get stuff done. And a lot of times it's just entitled people trying to get what they want. So I don't know if I have an opinion on the petitions themselves, or, I'm against regulation, so I don't like this. But at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not going to expect governments not to want their cut of this because they regulate everything else. So why would they not do this? So the people who are petitioning this, it's, well, do you want government, or do you want to just go with no regulations? Because I think most of the people probably don't want to go with just no regulations. They just don't like the regulations that make their life harder. I'm getting a little bit maybe judgmental, and I might be making some broad generalizations that aren't true, but I think it's safe to say that most people are not inherently against regulations in the world. If they were, we probably would have a lot less governments and a lot less regulation. So, yeah, I don't know. I think with a lot of these things, it's kind of just people only care about the regulations that affect them. And so sometimes these kind of things can make people get whiny or make them feel entitled and angry. But it is something that's annoying, and people have the right to petition too, I guess. I mean, I'm obviously not in favor of regulation, and that's one of the reasons why I'm into Bitcoin. I just wish, well, maybe it'll happen. I just wish that when stuff like this happen and people get mad because it affects them, maybe they'll realize that there are regulations that affect other people too in different ways, and they won't just be, well, woe is me and everybody's out to get me. And instead they'll realize, well, maybe regulations just aren't good in general. It's not just, I don't want this because I think I deserve better. We'll just see how it goes. I know that I'm not going to worry about it too much though, because, well, first of all, my music is free unless you want to pay for it. So I'm not really worried about making that much money, and I'm not really worried about paying taxes because most of the people who have listened to it got it for free. But if people do pay for it, I can just say, well, how about you use some Bitcoin? Or if people who use Bitcoin find out about this VAT stuff, maybe they'll come over and try to get my music because they know they're not going to have to worry about that. Just another reason to make the switch to Bitcoin. Just another way that that the free market and not having all these regulations can actually help people and provide more incentive for doing things, because I think these laws do decrease incentive a little bit. Probably not enough to make anybody stop providing their digital services, but it's still gonna make it more of a hassle for them to go through with it. That's obviously not good for productivity. Well, that's all I got for now. Maybe a little bit of a different kind of thing than you'll normally get on this show because it was more news-based. It probably won't always be like that, maybe every once in a while, but either way, thanks for listening. Before I finish up, I just want to let you guys know that this show will be coming out the first Saturday of every month. I think that's the first time that we've announced an official periodic release date. It's hopefully going to be every first Saturday of the month. So keep an eye out for it. Like I just said, thanks, and I'll see you next time.